So I want to bake an idea with you. So I want to bake an idea with you, which is, well, what it says right here, that I'm not heiress but a contributor. So let me give you some context. So I was sitting on the toilet reading Anil Seth's Being You, which is about the self and consciousness and predictive processing. And I was just thinking in general about the interviews that I've done, the people that I've emailed. So I was thinking about the interviews and I was thinking about how the students that I interviewed on Friday the 13th were talking about. Everybody's always talking about having a mind, having a brain. Because sometimes, so I'm used to people talking about having a brain. But there was one interviewee in particular, Ziad, who was talking about having a mind. That's also very common, but I don't think that I had really thought about it or noticed it the way I had just now on the toilet. That really, we don't want to define ourselves as anything. Oh, right, because even Anil Seth, he'll often say things like our brain. So then what is the possessor then? Like, what is the we that has this brain? Maybe sometimes that we is like a mind? Not really. Okay, so, and then I was thinking about my interview subject that was talking about I have a mind, I'm in control of my mind. Then he was convinced, when he misunderstood what I was saying, that his mind was in control of him. And I was like, well, why not say that they're one and the same? And why not? I don't know. Well, maybe I could give an answer to that, but that's not the point right now. So why do we have to say I have a mind? Oh wait, no. Again, that's not the point right now. But I'm actually thinking about Sarah right now. I'm distracted. Resetting. You know what? Let's even make sure that I'm actually recording while I reset. Okay, great. Okay. So it doesn't matter why we feel like we have to say I have a mind, but I was just thinking about the fact that we do. And I was thinking about Dr. Maria Schechtman and Dr. Jay Garfield, whom I interviewed in January, who define themselves as persons. And they have a lot of really good arguments for not defining themselves as brains. One good argument is that the cells are constantly changing. So there isn't enough physical continuity to say that this person here who has existed for 35 years, right? Well, whatever that existence is, or that existence is not cells. None of these cells has existed for 35 years. It also isn't some immaterial essence, often called a soul or spirit or Atman. So what is the thing? What can Eris refer to that has existed for 35 years? Well, it's kind of just the concept. But we're not explaining their ideas either right now, except for, no, we do have to explain this part. I don't think my oven's working right now. So Eris is sort of the collection of actions, thoughts, roles, memories, and so on that can be meaningfully tied together, that sort of can intuitively be considered a singular thing or part of the same set. So, but what am I? So to you, Eris is the same thing as 5 minutes ago. It may have changed, but it's the same fundamental thing. But what about from my perspective? What about this subjectivity? At this moment, certain neural events are happening that are producing these words and these thoughts. They are not the same neural events from 5 minutes ago. So when I say I am these specific neural events. I am not the memories that were made at age 15 or the memories that can be recalled from age 15. I am just these specific mental events. I kind of referred to this a bit or something similar in my interview with Dr. Santiago. Another piece of context is I've been wanting to help a family member come to terms with some of his, we'll use his word, lousy behavior. And it's difficult to come to terms with the lousy aspects of ourselves when we identify with those aspects as those aspects. Because whatever we are has to be defended. But when you can think of some lousy behavior as, like, for instance, happening because of alcohol, when you can blame it on the alcohol, it's much easier to say, that was lousy. That's not me. That was the alcohol. Well, likewise, with anything that happens in the brain's timeline, the neural events at one point can say, oh, I'm not the neural events from that other point. I'm comfortable condemning those other neural events because those aren't me. So anyway, all of that to say that I think I had a cool idea, or at least a piece of a cool idea, which is captured by what I've written here. The neural events producing these sentences, this thought, not Eris. A contribution to the set that we call Eris. So I'm not Eris, I'm just a contributor to the set of things labeled Eris. We tend to be obeyers. We tend to, the current neural event takes its cues, its direction, its narrative from that set. What am I supposed to be thinking, saying, doing right now? Well, what does Eris tend to do? And so by thinking of yourself, at least at certain times, as a contributor to Adam, whatever your name is, it might have the effect, like it could, of sort of freeing you from the Adam narrative. You can even expand the set. You can have a brand new thought, believe a thing that you've never believed before, want a thing that you've never wanted before that doesn't align with the Adam story, and thereby develop the Adam story. And so I'm wondering, like, could you have different moments? Like, you look back and you could say, you're right, therapist. In this story that I'm telling you, I was being an obeyer of Eris, which could be fine, right? If Eris or whatever your name has good values and you did a thing because it's consistent with those good values, with that identity, great. But sometimes you're doing something that isn't morally good or in your best interest just because it's what you typically do. And so, for instance, let's say you travel, you go to a continent you've never been to, engage in a culture you've never engaged in, people you've never met. That's an opportunity to be a contributor to Adam, not an obeyer of Adam. The Adam narrative doesn't have much place here. It could, but also you could have the opportunity to try out new thought patterns, new desires, new tendencies, whatever. Or, a new action to make for a new Adam tendency. So I was just thinking about, like, how you could phrase it, what the terminology could be. Because I imagine, it just popped into my head. And you could think of that as, since it popped into my head, since I don't identify with the origins of this thought or with the conceiving of this thought, that's another neural event outside of the one that's producing these words right now that contributed to me, to the Eris set. Anyway, so what just got contributed, I think I already have words in my vocabulary for that, but can't think of it right now. So what just happened, what just livered, but it got contributed to my thinking. I imagined 4 guys going out, they want to have a big night on the town, paint it red. I don't know, maybe it's like from a movie where there's one of them, or real life where there's one of them who typically doesn't take a lot of risks and so on. And his buddies are getting him out of the house. Let's go crazy. Let's have some new experiences. Well, one way maybe to say let's have some new experiences, or let's shed some of our normal fears or whatever, is to say let's be contributors tonight. Maybe a word where it makes it more obvious, that it's this specific definition. I think that's basically the idea, and we don't have to bake it all the way. And then you can ask yourself, am I being Eris right now? Well, you can't, I guess, ever be Eris. So am I obeying Eris? Am I keeping myself within the hitherto defined set of thoughts and behaviors that we call eris and tastes and so on? Or am I adding to it? And if I'm not adding to it, is this a moment? Is this an opportunity where it's in my best interest to be adding to the eris set? Yeah. I guess I'm just restating, but it just really gives you a chance to sort of turn over a new leaf. You can feel not weighed down by all the things you're supposed to be or have been. You are this brand new thing, this brand new piece of Adam. Yeah, I really like that. So, yeah, now I just have to cut out all the getting confused or not. I'm just gonna cut out the pauses maybe, and we'll see how watchable that is.